Sometimes, life breaks you not to destroy you but to rebuild you into someone stronger, wiser, and more awake than you ever imagined. And this is Daniel's story. A story about losing everything and discovering something far more important. Daniel never expected his life to collapse so quickly. In just 3 months, everything he depended on disappeared. First, the job he thought was secure, gone. A company restructuring. A cold email, a security guard escorting people out. His name on the list. Then, his relationship of 4 years fell apart. Not because of a big fight, but because the silence between them grew louder than the love they once shared. And with each loss, Daniel felt a piece of himself dissolve. He wasn't just unemployed, he felt unneeded, unworthy, unwanted. Every morning he woke up hoping things would magically fix themselves, and every night he went to bed with the same heavy questions haunting him. How did my life end up here? Who am I without all the things I lost? He felt like life had folded in on him, like the world had gently closed its door, and forgotten he was still standing outside. Days blurred together. He spent hours on the sofa, replaying every mistake he'd ever made, thinking about conversations he wished he could redo, opportunities he should have taken, signs he ignored. He wasn't living anymore. He was simply existing, waiting for something to change. He stopped opening the blinds, stopped checking his phone, stopped talking to friends because he didn't want to be the failure. Every night, he stared at the ceiling, feeling the weight of a future he no longer believed in. His world became small, dark, silent, and yet, even in the silence, life was quietly moving around him, watching, waiting for the moment he'd be ready to hear something different. That moment came sooner than he expected. One evening, just as the sun dipped behind the buildings, there was a gentle knock on his door. It was his elderly neighbor, Mrs. Adler, the kind of woman who always smelled like cinnamon and had eyes that seemed to carry whole novels behind them. "I haven't seen you outside for weeks," she said softly. "Come walk with me." Daniel wanted to say no. He wanted to stay in the comfort of his sadness. But something in her voice, something in her presence, cut through the fog. He sighed, put on his shoes, and followed her out the door. They walked slowly down the quiet street. For a long time, neither of them said anything. The world around them felt peaceful, cars humming in the distance, trees whispering in the breeze, a sky slowly filling with stars. And then, without looking at him, she said, "You think life is falling apart, but sometimes it's falling into place. Just not the way you planned." Daniel stopped walking. The words hit him deeper than he expected. It felt like she had opened a window in a room he'd kept locked for months. She continued, "You're grieving the life you thought you'd have. But maybe that life wasn't meant for who you're becoming." Something cracked open inside him. Not in a painful way, but like a shell breaking to reveal something new. He realized he had been clinging to an identity that no longer fit. The job, the relationship, the routines, all of it belonged to a version of him he had already outgrown. Maybe, just maybe, losing everything was an invitation to rebuild with intention. The next morning, Daniel did something small, but powerful. He opened the blinds, let sunlight warm the room he had been hiding in. He made himself breakfast. Not because he had to, but because he deserved to eat something warm. Then he took a walk, just around the block. But each step felt like a quiet promise to himself. "I'm not giving up." He rewrote his CV, not the old one filled with generic descriptions, but a new one that reflected the person he wanted to become. He signed up for an online course, something he'd always been curious about, but never had time for. He practiced a new skill for 30 minutes daily. Some days he felt progress, some days he didn't, but he kept showing up. And slowly, very slowly, things began to shift. 3 months later, he got a job. Not the one he used to dream about, but a better one. A job he never would have applied for before. A job that matched who he was becoming, not who he used to be. He didn't get his old confidence back. He built a new kind. One rooted in resilience, not perfection. One built on action, not fear. Sometimes, collapse isn't the end. It's the beginning you didn't know you needed. Life doesn't always break you to punish you. Sometimes, it breaks you to rebuild you into someone you were always meant to become. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment if this resonates with you. Thank you for watching.